What's up, man? I know that just took a bit of the pleasure away from your evening today, but going back to your fight, how do you feel about your own performance?
Man, that watching that just put me in a really bad mood. Um, I feel like my performance was good. It was the performance I was working on, I planned on. Um, I can improve, can throw more numbers, more punches. There's always room for improvement in this game.
What happened at the face-off? I mean, he came out. He's always aggressive. He's always like that. But was there anything that happened prior to this fight that made him react like that at the weigh-ins?
No, he just came out and started mouthing, started barking. So I wanted to see how hard he bit, and he didn't bite too hard tonight.
Just took the words out of my mouth there. I was going to ask if you thought his bark was worse than his bite. But did you want the walk-off KO? Was that what made you pause?
Um, his eyes are rolled, like he fell flat on his back. I thought he was out. And, I've been in fights where I've dropped people and then I wake them back up when I punch them. So, I just wanted a clean getaway. So.
You still happy with that performance, though? I mean, because you dropped him early on, like almost immediately in the first round as well. Did you know that you were a better striker than him? And did you know he was just going to rush in and try and cramp the space? And was this all stuff you anticipated?
That's the only option he really had. I knew I was a better striker. I definitely knew I was a better grappler. I wasn't worried about his ground game. He was going to be desperate. I was ready for whatever he came with, and, I showed it.
Did you say on the broadcast to Bisping that you've won a puppy?
Yeah, so Unleashed Kennels, they said if I get a performance of the night bonus. So I'm waiting to see if I get the bonus, but more than likely I got a free puppy.
It's pretty cool. Any particular breed or?
American Bully.
How did that come around?
I've been following them for years. Like, they're my favorite dog kennel, so I talk to them like regularly. So, it's been cool.
Tarantulas and dogs?
Yeah, I got a whole dog page. I do dog training. Like, I love dogs. Yeah.
Why did you come out to the weigh-ins holding a tarantula? I know the nickname and everything like that, but what made you decide, I'll take this guy with me today?
It was just a good way to stand out. And, since I get to drive out here to Vegas, I live in California, it was like my perfect opportunity to do it. I was going to do it last week against Thiago Moises, but I didn't know how the weigh-ins was going to be set up, so it just didn't feel right. So this week I was like, perfect. Like, I know, like, right after I step on the scale, it's going to be a face-off. I know how it's going to be ran, so just did it. Got to stand out. I'm the tarantula, original.
Did you have to ask the UFC if you could do that, or did you just like bring him in your pocket? I
didn't want to ask because I didn't want to get turned down, so I just did it.
And there was no temptation to like come out to the face-off and just throw it at him?
I figured he was going to try to get in my face and, like do all that, so I didn't want to like risk hurting her, like hurting the tarantula or like, just having some shit happen because that's what happened, so.
Right. The next thing you have to do is bring it into the cage after you win and like put it on them. And
They told me before we got here, before we left, they said no tarantulas at the events. So I can't do that.
Spoil sports, man. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you, appreciate it.
And you kind of mentioned there, I was going to ask you if it was a female or a male.
Yeah, female. She was a Mexican painted red leg. Brachypelma amelia is the Latin name for her.
You could usually tell because they're much brighter colors and they're much prettier, I think, than the male counterparts. But how'd you even get into tarantulas, let alone to collect like 200, I think they said on the broadcast?
Yeah, I had a fear of them. I misunderstood them, always said I would never own one. I ended up getting over that fear by purchasing one. I did my research, and then I'll never forget, I watched it drink water, and then it let me hold it, and I was hooked. And I bought like 30 at one point, and I had like a bunch of babies. Like, even at home right now, I got one that has an egg sac, so I'm gonna have a couple hundred babies when I get home.
Well, I think that probably goes into saying to how you're able to fight. I think overcoming the fear of spider, let alone you're going in for a career fighting and doing something that most of us have a fear to do, to go in there and fight another person. So is it kind of work in tandem, the way that you're able to overcome your fear and yet you do something that most people are afraid to do for a living?
Yeah, I think the whole spiel behind the tarantulas and me and just who I am as a person, the thing that links us all together is misunderstanding. So you can misunderstand something, but once you understand it, you have a different eye for it. And I misunderstood tarantulas. I didn't like them. Fighters are misunderstood because nobody wants to fight. They're like, why the hell would you do that? You're crazy. So I think it just all goes together.
And something I was going to ask you, and I think you could tell by the emotion that you were showing when you came up, you just watched your teammate lose. But I was going to ask you, did you learn anything from Roosevelt? He had a previous bout with Brok, was able to get a rear naked choke. You got a rear naked choke. I didn't know if that's the kind of thing you guys kind of would. Did he tell you about that? Did you learn about that from him? Because you were close. He beat you in time just a little bit. I don't know if you saw that. And if that's the kind of thing you guys would rib each other about afterwards.
We didn't really like talk about like how to finish him. He just told me he's gonna come out, he's gonna do this, he's gonna do that. We didn't really talk too much. He already knew I had it. He was confident in my abilities because we train together, so he knows me almost better than I know myself. So he had no worries about the outcome. I was gonna win. We all thought I was gonna knock him out, so I got the submission.
Last one for me. Michael was touching on a story in the broadcast, talking about when you were younger, stood a couch up in the garage when you didn't have much gear to work with, but would watch a tape of Anderson Silva and would be using this couch. It's got to be a crazy ride that you're on going from there to where you are right now.
It's really surreal. I was like 17 at the time, just a kid with a dream. I wanted to fight. I didn't know what I wanted to do with school. I was just like didn't want to go to college. I started training with some friends in our backyard doing sparring, and I used my couch as a punching bag because that's all I had. I would watch Shane Faison and Quan Kicker and Anderson Silva and just try to like emulate them and just do my best. And I took it this far, so I'm really it's like when I think about it in hindsight, it's like wow, like I made it. I'm chasing my dream still.
That's pretty awesome. I think if you did do the school thing, that whole biologist thing, or whatever they call the people that mess with spiders, that might be right up your alley.
Yeah, like if I did go to school, it would be for herpetology, but there's not much money in that. So
Yeah.
you gotta have money with your dreams. If it's not worth the money, it's not worth it.
Congrats on the win.
Thank you.
The Tarantula, congratulations on getting your 10th MMA career victory. Question for you. Heated exchange that you guys had at the face-offs. What was the first thing that Brok said to you when you exchanged pleasantries after the victory?
He asked me what I hit him with. He said, "What'd you catch me with?" And he was talking about he was just getting started. We were getting warmed up, and he thought I was fading a little bit. And I was like, "No, I was just getting my rhythm going." So he kept it cordial after. So that was really cool.
Michael Bisping on the broadcast also said that he sparred with you training for the Luke Rockhold fight and Anderson Silva, and he mentioned that you got the best of him. Can you say that as well?
I mean, I'm happy I didn't have to say it first.
Fair enough. And lastly, was that the same tarantula that you put on the Schmo last May in the Ruka gym?
No, she's a new one. I just got her like a month ago. Yeah, actually, I ended up giving that one away to some friends. Their son wanted a tarantula really badly, so I was like, "Here, this is the perfect one for you."
And you still have not been bitten yet?
Still haven't been bit.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Jailin, you took the fight on short notice, but you looked more than ready. What were you doing to prepare to get the call?
I was scheduled to fight last week, so I was already ready to go. The only concern about taking this fight was just the weight, because right after I heard I wasn't going to fight, I started eating. So I was up till 182 Wednesday when I got the call, and then he said he'd do a catch weight at 65. Weighing at 63, I was ready to go.
You dropped him, and then you gave him a couple of seconds to catch his breath. What was going through your head at that time?
I thought he was out. No need for further damage. I'm more of a mixed martial artist than a fighter. I try to keep a poise about me, keep a little bit of respect in here. But like I said, I've dropped people and I've woken back up, and then I ended up losing in the third round. So it's something I've experienced. So just playing a little smarter. But yeah, like I had the gas tank to just keep going and beat him this time. But I was just like, what's the point?
And finally, for me, we always hear that MMA is a family. When you're a mixed martial artist, you have respect for your opponents, but you also have your real family as the ones that you train with. And thinking about Roosevelt, what are you going to tell him when you see him, I imagine, in the next couple of minutes?
Honestly, just this whole interview has been hard to do because I keep thinking about my boy, man. Like that dude is like my little brother, so it was hard to watch that. I'm gonna just go tell him just keep his head up. We gotta you know, we got a bright future ahead of us, both of us. So, you know, it's hard for me to watch. I, you know, hats off to Crooms, but you know, if we cross paths, I'm gonna take his head off.
Do you think actually you can learn anything from watching Roosevelt lose tonight?
There was nothing to learn from that. He just got caught. You know, he came in a little tall, got caught with that hook, and you know he didn't know where he was, so he couldn't defend a guillotine.